back, guys. Today we are looking at shoulder mobility, and all we need today is a dowel stick, a broom, whatever you may have that will replicate something like this, and a very light dumbbell. This is a 2 pound. If you have a can of baked beans or condensed milk, whatever it is at home, that'll do. So these two are what we need today. So this is shoulder mobility with a little bit of strength into mobility as well. For those people who have restrictions and may want to start to free up, especially that external rotation. Remember to consult with a physician if you have a pre-existing shoulder injury, and make sure that this routine is right for you. Otherwise, let's jump into it and enjoy. Okay guys, so for the first one, we are starting in a standing position. With this, we are going hands just a little wider than shoulder width apart, palms facing away from you. And as we go back into shoulder flexion, what I want you to focus on is locking your ribs down and tucking your tailbone under. Make sure there's no pain in your shoulder. You should feel like a nice stretch, but there shouldn't be any sharp or dull pain starting to come on in the shoulder. And completing the 10 reps. So as we finish the last 2 here, keeping it slow and controlled. Alright, so now same position, but the dowel stick goes behind our back. Palms still facing away from us, and the same thing. Lock the ribs down, tailbone under. Do not extend through the lower back. Use your breath, so as you come back, you're breathing out through the mouth. As you come in through the nose. 10 reps again. Try and focus on increasing that mobility with each rep, but ensure that there is no pain. Okay, so for this next one, we are laying prone, face down on the ground, resting the forehead on the ground, locking the ribs under once again, just wider than shoulder width apart with the hands. And all we're doing here is trying to improve that shoulder flexion once again. So palms facing the ground, making sure there's no pain, and each time we come up, trying to push that barrier back a little more on each rep. So as we finish the last rep here, keep things as slow and controlled as possible, and coming out from there. Okay, so this next one is in the same position. We are just adding a little modification to it and bringing the dowel stick behind the head. So the same thing, palms are facing the ground, making sure the hands stay just wider than shoulder width apart. Really lock those ribs down, tuck the tailbone under, make sure you're not extending to the lower back, and complete. Do not restrict the breathing here, and ensure that there is no pain, and if there is pain, you're coming out of it straight away. Use your breath. So as you reach up, we're breathing out through the mouth, in through the nose on the way down. Trying to keep the motion as smooth and slow as possible. Do not complete this fast and uncontrolled. Alright, and completing the last rep here, slowly coming out from there. Okay, so for this next one, we are in the same position, dropping the dowel stick and adding a little external rotation into the mix. So as you can see here, we drop down, trying to keep the hands as far off the ground as possible. Complete this little external rotation mix, and then reach back up. So come back down here. You're going to notice that as you reach around through this external rotation, that your hands are going to want to go close to the ground. You've got to try and fight this, go really slow and keep them as far off the ground as possible. Same thing, locking the ribs under, locking the tailbone down, making sure that you're not extending to achieve that external rotation through the shoulder. And good, coming out from there. From here, we are going to go into a supine position on our back, propping our elbow up on a cushion or whatever you have close by, holding that 2 pound weight or whatever light thing we have around us. We're going to complete some external rotations here. Now, the big focus here is as we drop down, I want you to try and count at least 3 seconds. So we're keeping it as controlled as possible. The same thing here. If there's any pain in your shoulder, going into external rotation, either decrease the range of motion or completely cut out this shoulder. So same thing, as we go back, a way of cheating around this is to extend through the lower back. So make sure that core stays, the ribs stay locked down and the tailbone stays locked under. So here we are, switching sides, complete on the other side. Prop the elbow up, same thing, try and drop that wrist down towards the ground. If it doesn't reach the ground, that's okay, just stay within your own limits. So use your breath as you're dropping that wrist down. We're breathing out through the mouth. As you're lifting, in through the nose. Go at your own pace here and really make sure we're trying to increase that mobility on each rep. You can see here I've actually had a pre-existing shoulder injury in this side, and the mobility between this and my other side is quite substantially less. So you'll probably find this with yourself as well. So really make sure you don't push through that barrier too hard, and completing the last rep here, keep the control, slowly coming up from there. Okay guys, so the next one, we are on our side, laying on our side. We are completing open books here, and what we're doing here, the number one rule is to keep the eyes on the hand that's rotating. So once again, we've got that 2 pound weight in the hand. As we rotate around here, you see once we get to head height, we start to externally rotate the shoulder. So the palm starts to face the ceiling, and then as we reach the front here, the palm faces the ground. So reaching up, palm facing the ceiling, eyes stay on the weight the whole time, or on the hand. And then as we reach forward, we're starting to increase the reach. So as we imagine that you're drawing a circle, and on each rep, we're trying to reach a little lower, reach a little further forward, reach a little higher, and increase the diameter of that circle. So really trying to improve that mobility. Once again, any pain, you come out of here straight away. Use your breath, make sure you've got that control, keep focusing on good externally rotating that shoulder as you come around the back, and good keeping the control. So as we close out the reps here, we're going to come back to the front, and then we will complete on the other side. So changing sides, and same thing again. So as we reach up, once we get to that center line, we're externally rotating, palm faces the ceiling, reaching down, trying to increase the diameter of those circles each time. So reaching a little higher, a little further back, a little further down, and a little further in front on each rep. So keep the control here. Make sure you're not completing this too fast. You'll focus that on one part of this cycle. You're going to find a little bit of limitation in your shoulder. So once we hit this phase, if it's a lot of the time it's up around to the back. So try and slow this phase down and really focus on ironing out and increasing the mobility through this part of your shoulder. But other than this, keep your speed as slow as possible to keep that control. Do not restrict your breathing. Make sure as you reach around here that we're really reaching as far forward as possible, trying to increase that mobility. As you come around the back here, eyes stay on the weight the whole time and coming out from there. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed the routine today. If you are looking at adding mobility to your daily routines, check out a few of the other videos we've done in the previous weeks. I'm really hoping this is helping you guys out and you're enjoying them. So enjoy guys, until next time, take care. Cheers.